When people think about Mat Armstrong, they usually imagine exciting car rebuilds, impossible repairs, and vehicles that many experts believe cannot be saved. Over the years, he has earned a reputation for buying damaged supercars and sports cars, rebuilding them with his team, and proving that determination and skill can achieve what many thought was impossible. But his latest Porsche project has become much more than another rebuild. It has started a conversation about how luxury car manufacturers handle warranty claims, and whether current consumer protection laws are strong enough to protect owners. The story began when Matt bought a damaged Porsche GT3 RS at auction for around £87,000. Before Matt owned the car, it belonged to another enthusiast who had purchased it with a valid manufacturer warranty. When the engine developed serious problems, the owner did what most people would do. He took the car to an official Porsche dealership, expecting the issue to be repaired under warranty. Instead, things took a surprising turn. Porsche inspected the vehicle, but later refused to honor the warranty after claiming that information stored inside the car suggested possible mileage irregularities. Although this raised questions, there was no clear proof showing when the issue happened or who might have caused it. The owner believed the engine problem itself was a real issue, while Porsche focused on the vehicle's recorded data. Weeks passed while the car remained with the dealership. When it was finally returned, it was reportedly in worse condition than before. The engine could not even be started. Important parts had been removed or incorrectly installed, and basic fluids were missing. Faced with expensive repair costs and a rejected warranty claim, the owner eventually stopped making finance payments, allowing the bank to repossess the vehicle. The Porsche was then sent to auction, where Mat Armstrong purchased it, without knowing that the project would soon become one of the most talked about rebuilds on his channel and spark a much bigger discussion about warranties, consumer rights, and the responsibility of luxury car manufacturers. After bringing the Porsche back to his workshop, Mat Armstrong and his team started the careful process of finding out exactly what had gone wrong. At first, they expected to discover normal engine damage, but the deeper they looked, the more surprising the situation became. The engine showed signs of serious wear, including damaged camshafts and missing finger followers, parts that play an important role in keeping the engine running smoothly. According to information discussed during the rebuild, these problems have been seen on some similar Porsche engines before, leading many enthusiasts to believe that certain parts had weaknesses from the factory. However, what shocked Matt even more was not only the worn components, but also the way the engine had been put back together after its earlier inspection. As the rebuild continued, he noticed that several important parts did not appear to be installed correctly. Instead of simply replacing damaged pieces and hoping for the best, Matt decided to rebuild the engine carefully using genuine Porsche parts while following the official workshop procedures as closely as possible. After many hours of work, the engine was finally ready to start. Everyone expected success, but the engine still refused to run properly. Rather than giving up, the team removed the engine again, checked every measurement, inspected every moving part, and rebuilt it a second time. Even after all that effort, the problem remained. Most people would probably have accepted defeat at this stage, especially after investing so much time and money into the project. Yet Matt refused to quit. He removed the engine for a third time, replacing more components and carefully checking every detail against factory specifications. Once again, the result was disappointing. The Porsche still would not perform the way it should. Weeks of work seemed to have produced no answer. The project was becoming more expensive, more frustrating, and far more difficult than anyone had expected. For the first time, Matt seriously considered whether the car had hidden damage that nobody had discovered yet. Selling the Porsche as an unfinished project started to seem like a real possibility. However, instead of making that decision immediately, he chose to step back, review everything from the beginning, and search for one small clue that everyone else might have missed. That decision would soon change the entire direction of the project and reveal a discovery that nobody expected. Late one night, after spending weeks trying to solve the mystery, Mat Armstrong decided to do something that many professional technicians rarely have time to do. Instead of picking up another wrench or ordering more replacement parts, he sat down and watched every second of the footage his team had recorded since the project began. Because they film almost every repair for YouTube, they had hours of close-up videos showing every stage of the engine coming apart. Frame by frame, Matt carefully examined each clip, comparing one side of the engine to the other. While most people watching the footage would probably never notice anything unusual, one small detail caught his attention. The cam variators on one side of the engine appear to be positioned differently from those on the opposite side. At first, the difference looked so small that it could easily have been ignored. But Matt was curious enough to compare what he saw with Porsche's official diagrams and technical information. That comparison led to a major breakthrough. It appeared that during the original inspection, the engine had been reassembled with key components installed in the wrong positions. If that was true, it explained why the engine continued to have problems even after several careful rebuilds. Matt realized that he had been rebuilding the engine correctly while unknowingly working around a mistake that had already been made before he bought the car. The discovery completely changed his approach. He canceled other plans, removed the engine once again, and carefully corrected the positioning of the cam variators according to the factory specifications. It was the fourth time the engine had been removed from the car, a task that would discourage almost anyone. But this time, the result was completely different. After putting everything back together, the engine started properly and finally performed the way it should have from the beginning. What had seemed like an impossible mechanical puzzle was solved by paying close attention to a tiny detail hidden inside hours of video footage. The repair itself reportedly cost only around £5,000 in parts, far less than many people expected for such a complicated engine. More importantly, the discovery raised new questions. If the engine had indeed been returned to the previous owner with incorrectly assembled parts, was a rejected warranty claim really handled fairly? That question quickly became much bigger than the repair itself and started a wider discussion among car enthusiasts, legal experts, and consumers about accountability, evidence, and the responsibilities of vehicle manufacturers when dealing with warranty inspections. As Mat Armstrong shared each stage of the rebuild on YouTube, the story quickly spread beyond the usual audience of car enthusiasts. Millions of viewers were no longer watching just to see a damaged Porsche brought back to life. Instead, many became interested in the questions surrounding the warranty claim and whether the previous owner had been treated fairly. The discussion soon moved from garages and online car forums to conversations about consumer rights and the responsibilities of manufacturers. Many viewers pointed out that warranties are meant to give buyers confidence. When someone spends well over £100,000 on a performance car, they expect the manufacturer to stand behind the product if a genuine factory problem appears. In this case, however, the focus shifted from the engine's mechanical faults to data that suggested possible mileage irregularities. While Porsche believed this information justified rejecting the warranty, many people questioned whether that alone should have been enough without clear evidence showing who caused the issue or when it happened. Others argued that if factory defects were already present inside the engine, they deserved proper attention regardless of unrelated questions. The situation became even more controversial after Matt's rebuild suggested that some engine components may have been incorrectly reassembled during the earlier inspection. Although Porsche has not publicly accepted those claims as fact, the video encouraged viewers to ask important questions about inspection procedures and accountability. Legal experts and consumer advocates also began discussing how current laws handle these kinds of disputes. In the United Kingdom, the Consumer Rights Act 2015 was created to protect buyers when products failed to meet reasonable standards, but some observers believe there are still gray areas when manufacturers inspect vehicles under warranty and later refuse repairs. Questions such as who carries the burden of proof, how warranty decisions should be explained, and what condition a vehicle should be returned in after inspection became central to the debate. Whether or not this individual case eventually leads to legal action, it has already encouraged thousands of people to think more carefully about the rights they have when buying expensive vehicles. For many viewers, the Porsche project stopped being just another rebuild and became an example of how one well-documented repair can raise wider questions about fairness, transparency, and trust between customers and some of the world's biggest automotive companies. The Porsche story also became part of a much larger conversation that Mat Armstrong has been building over the past few years through his YouTube channel. This was not the first time he had faced difficulties while repairing a high-end performance car. Viewers who have followed his previous projects will remember the challenges he experienced with brands such as Bugatti, where obtaining genuine parts, technical support, or manufacturer assistance proved extremely difficult. Because of those earlier experiences, Many people saw the Porsche rebuild as another example of the growing tension between independent repairers and luxury car manufacturers. Modern supercars are packed with advanced electronics, software, and security systems that often require factory-approved tools to diagnose or repair. Manufacturers argue that these restrictions help protect safety, quality, and the reputation of their vehicles. On the other hand, independent mechanics and many owners believe that once a customer buys a car, they should have the freedom to repair it wherever they choose without unnecessary obstacles. This debate has become even more important as cars become more dependent on software and digital systems. Many viewers connected Mat's Porsche experience with a wider right to repair movement, which supports giving consumers greater access to replacement parts, repair information, and diagnostic tools. Supporters believe this creates more competition, lowers repair costs, and gives owners more control over products they purchase. Manufacturers, however, often argue that unrestricted repairs could affect safety, reliability, and cybersecurity if vehicles are modified or repaired incorrectly. The Porsche rebuild placed these opposing viewpoints side by side in a way that millions of people could easily understand. Instead of discussing legal theories or technical documents, viewers watched a real vehicle, a real repair process, and a real dispute unfold on camera. Whether someone agreed with Porsche's decisions or believed Mat's findings raised serious concerns, the project encouraged people to ask difficult questions about how modern warranty systems should work. It also highlighted the growing importance of transparency, especially when expensive vehicles require specialized repairs that only a limited number of people are officially allowed to perform. As technology continues to change the automotive industry, stories like this are likely to become more common, making the balance between protecting manufacturers' interests and protecting consumers' rights an increasingly important issue for the future. As more people watch Mat Armstrong's Porsche rebuild, the discussion spread far beyond YouTube comments and automotive forums. Owners of performance cars began sharing their own experiences, with some saying they had faced similar problems when trying to make warranty claims or deal with expensive repairs. While every case is different and depends on its own facts, the growing number of stories showed that many customers were frustrated by how difficult it can be to challenge a manufacturer's decision. One important lesson from Mat's project is the value of careful documentation. Throughout the rebuild, every step was recorded on camera, every damaged part was examined, and every repair was explained in detail. That level of documentation gave viewers a clear timeline of what happened after the car left the dealership and arrived at Mat's workshop. Without those videos, many of the questions raised during the rebuild might never have been discussed so widely. The project also reminded owners of the importance of keeping service records, repair invoices, inspection reports, and communication with dealerships. These documents can become valuable if a disagreement ever arises over a warranty claim or the condition of a vehicle. At the same time, the story showed how powerful social media has become in today's world. Years ago, a dispute between one customer and a manufacturer might have remained private. Now, a well-documented video can reach millions of viewers within days, encouraging experts, journalists, and other owners to join the conversation. This increased public attention does not automatically prove that one side is right or wrong, but it does encourage greater transparency and accountability from everyone involved. Looking ahead, many people believe that discussions about warranty systems, repair rights, and consumer protection will continue to grow as vehicles become more advanced and expensive. Electric vehicles, connected software systems, and digital security features are already changing how repairs are carried out, making cooperation between manufacturers and independent repair specialists even more important. Regardless of how Mat Armstrong's Porsche story eventually ends, it has already achieved something significant. It encouraged millions of people to think beyond the excitement of rebuilding a damaged sports car and consider larger questions about fairness, ownership, and the responsibilities that come with selling some of the world's most expensive and technologically advanced automobiles. Although the Porsche project began with one damaged GT3 RS, its impact reached much further than a single car. It reminded people that buying an expensive vehicle is about more than speed, luxury, or performance. It is also about trust. Customers expect that if something goes wrong because of a genuine manufacturing problem, the company behind the product will provide fair support. At the same time, manufacturers must protect themselves from fraud, misuse, or unauthorized modifications that could affect a vehicle's reliability. Finding the right balance between these two responsibilities is not always easy, which is why warranty disputes can become so complicated. Mat Armstrong's rebuild did not claim to solve every question surrounding modern warranty policies, but encouraged a much wider audience to think about how those systems operate. Instead of simply accepting technical explanations, viewers began asking whether customers receive enough information when claims are rejected, and whether manufacturers should provide stronger evidence before making such important decisions. Many people also appreciated the way Matt approached the challenge. Rather than criticizing from a distance, he focused on understanding the car itself, carefully rebuilding the engine, checking every detail, and allowing the results of his work to speak for themselves. His persistence showed that patience, careful observation, and a willingness to learn can sometimes uncover answers that are missed during routine inspections. By the end of the project, the Porsche had gone from being an abandoned auction car to a fully functioning high-performance machine that successfully passed Porsche's own inspection process after the repairs were completed. Whether future legal cases or changes in consumer protection laws are influenced by this story remains uncertain, and any such developments would depend on regulators, lawmakers, and the courts rather than one YouTube video alone. However, one thing is already clear. Mat Armstrong's Porsche rebuild has become one of the most memorable automotive stories in recent years because it combined mechanical skill, determination, and an important discussion about consumer rights. It showed that a simple rebuild can sometimes reveal much bigger questions about fairness, transparency, and accountability. As